Greetings everyone, welcome to a new Let's Build It here at the Dunwich Borers location, which is a location I've always wanted to build at frequently when I pass by and just never figured out what to build.
Some fresh meat. Come on! Made a big mistake!
Okay, let's start over here now that we have this area clear. And as I said before, I've always wanted to build here, and I think it's a cool location that might have some interesting ways to build. I'm not sure if that makes sense, but first thing I'm going to do is I want to clear all this out, because what I do want to do is I want this whole lower section to be underwater, like more like the other quarry. What I want to do is get rid of all this stuff here and clear this area. Now normally I would kind of delete as I build, just in case there's something that I want to keep, but I definitely know all this stuff I just want to scrap it. And very time consuming doing this, but I think it's worth it in the end. Here we go with a lot of the stuff already scrapped. And one thing I can tell you, if you are scrapping a lot of stuff, when you start doing it and you get going fast, definitely quick save or save once in a while, because you wind up deleting something you don't want to, like one of these giant pieces of marble rock, which is what I did, and I had to go back and start over because I was a little too quick on that. Now these cables are hard to delete sometimes, so I usually just hover below them, look straight up, and just kind of mash the square button down as I hover back and forth. And usually it can highlight that, because at times I find it very difficult to try and grab that, so I'm able to scrap it. So that's kind of what I do with that. So here we go. Here's a nice clean area of the Dunwich Borers quarry here. And as I said, I want to build a fancy house. This isn't going to be a junk build, this is going to be more of a modern build, and I want to do some fancy like penthouse that is built into the rock. And I thought this location has so many great little areas to do so. But one thing I definitely want to do is this whole area down below, I want this all water, and you know, somewhere where you could swim, but it also will look cool, because I think I want to clean it up a little. And I'm thinking the water level might be up to this first level here, where you can use some of these ledges to sit on. So if you're swimming around, you can come up to the ledge, or you know, whatever. In this area tucked in back here, I think this is where I'm going to build the little penthouse. It's a perfect area to kind of squeeze something in there, and I think I'll be able to do. I think I'll be able to fit something in here. Maybe build it out a little, but that's my initial plan. First, I want to get the water down, because I feel like if I start building on other stuff, it might make it a little difficult. And doing this water, I know it's going to be multiple pieces. Having the quappa tilt this in, because I don't have an area around there that I can place the water, it's really tricky, and it's time consuming, especially when you need to do multiple squares of the water. So I'll set down the first one and then see how many squares I'm going to need to fill that whole area. And as I said, this quappa tilting the water, it's kind of a pain to do, but the more you do it, it becomes a little easier. It's still kind of tricky doing it, like here, trying to get to where I can build it. And then I have to quappa tilt it in over to the other location. There's a great video on how to do this. This is actually, the water mod is from the Custom Vanilla Assets, and there's a great video by Werty Perty that explains how to do this quappa tilt, and that's how I learned to do it. I'll have the links in the description. It's worth watching if you're not quite sure how to do the quappa tilt. But I'm going to go down and place this first layer of water to establish what I'm thinking as far as the height or the depth of the water. And this little marble section right there, I want to have that above water. So maybe a little bit below that is what I'll do. So you could swim up and maybe sit on this. I might even put grass on this or something. Just something to clean it up and make it really nice. So it fits with this kind of swanky condo apartment penthouse type thing that I'm going to build up in that rock. I chose this water mainly because it's the first square in the options of water. Just because as you go on, sometimes you forget which water you're using and it's really hard to match. Then your waters are all different colors and it's just a mess. So I find it for myself, it's just easier to use that first square, so then I know all the squares of waters that I put in later will match. And from the looks of it, it's going to be a lot of squares because that one didn't cover a whole lot. So I want that water to come all the way over here and cover this entire lower area, which will then allow me to use the marble ramp walking down. Now, a good little tip that I learned from someone else here is to use a wall or something like I'm doing here, and that helps you line up your water when you're placing it, because sometimes without something like this it's really hard to gauge if it's the same level, because it's very deceiving with the edge of the water, and if it's far away sometimes you place it and then when you go back up there's a gap or it's not even the same height. So by adding this wall in, you're able to get a better idea. So when we bring this new water section in and try and match it up, we'll be able to see a little better how far down it needs to go. And I found this to be the best method to do it. As you see here, you line it up so we don't have any cracks, but then at the same time we want the same level. And that looks like it worked out pretty good. Now I probably should have placed that wall in a different spot, but I'll show you here with this one what I'm talking about in regards to lining it up with the wall. So you bring it over, you can see how it's just easier to see matching up the levels there. And then when you do that, as long as you have it lined up in regards to the cracks, that's the thing that's difficult about laying in multiple squares of water, is I don't want to see the gaps in the water or overlap. So you want those to match up just right, and this wall helps you do that. Now when you are placing it, do not detach from the water until you know it's set perfectly. So usually what I'll do is I'll go down to exit and look around, see if everything matches up right, and then come back and make some adjustments, because the Quappa tool allows you to keep moving that same grab until you detach. Once you detach it, then you have to re-grab it, which will be impossible, and you'll have to start over with that square of water. So just a helpful hint, to exit and not detach until you're ready and the water is set perfectly, then detach. I just find that a little easier to do adjustments, because a lot of times you don't get it perfect the first time, but lining this water up is a real chore. Okay, let's check out our work here. And as I said, I wanted this to be all water down here, and I managed to do that. I think it's a good level, and as I said before, it just kind of cleans up the area, and I wanted to use those ledges. I thought the use of the ledges with the water would just give it a little something extra, and I don't have to build any kind of dock. I think I'll just leave it kind of like the Quarry look and save all the other fancy building stuff for the penthouse. So with the water set, one thing I wanted to add in, actually quite a few, I want to add in some waterfalls here and there. I think that'd be a cool touch, and it would look pretty cool, especially from the penthouse, looking out whatever windows we might have to see some waterfalls, coming off the edge or from the top or something like that. Just makes it more interesting, makes it more cool, to look at when you're in your fancy little house there. So I'm going to put some of these waterfalls in and maybe spread them around a bit, and we'll come back and then we'll get going on the penthouse. Okay, I'm going to add in the grass here on this one little level because I think it might be kind of a cool little spot if you're, say, swimming down here in the water, is to come up on this ledge and just hang out on the grass. And I wanted to do grass instead of like a dock, just mainly for the color, because there's really no color right now. It's just all the marble, the white marble. And then I also like to use these hedges just to break up the border of the grass, because sometimes the grass can be, the edges are just a little too square, and I want to roughen it up a bit. The best way I've kind of found is just by using these hedges and just sinking them in just enough where they're sticking through and kind of break up that hard edge. And it softens it up a bit and just adds a little more natural look to the grass. So that's pretty much why I do that. Okay, now that we've got our little water area set up, I want to get going on figuring out how I'm going to do the penthouse thing up here. And I'm going to start off with these vault floors, mainly because the bottom side of these has a nice finish to it, and I want this this penthouse to overhang the rock a little. So rather than having to cover up that later, I think I'll just use these vault floor pieces as the overhang, just so when you're looking from the bottom it has that nice, metal steel finish to it. You see how much extra space I'm adding just by adding this on the edge. Otherwise it'd be a pretty small penthouse up here. So I'm also going to curve these pieces so they line up here with that edge. And that way, once the walls are up, once the windows are up, it'll have the same contour, hopefully, as the edge of the marble quarry there. I'm thinking it'll look pretty cool too. And it's also not just a square space. This ledge over here, I was thinking of having like a little patio, but I think I'm going to extend this. I'm going to have to quap-it this one in because it won't snap. So this will be, I think, a hallway. I'm going to do like a glass window hallway going down this section here, maybe into a smaller room over there, or maybe like a patio or deck over by that waterfall. I think that might be cool. But once again, I'm going to continue using the vault floor pieces just to establish the layout of this, and I'll cover this flooring with whatever I'm going to do. Probably something a little more modern and a little cleaner than this vault tile that we have going on here. And as I was building and deleting some of these giant pieces of marble, by deleting some of these chunks, I've noticed this giant open section inside, which is going to allow me to build a whole lot more inside the rock. Because I was worried I was going to run out of space, but as you see, we delete these chunks that we don't see from the outside. So we have this outer wall here, but this interior, look at all this open space we now have to build. And I advise you, if you are deleting some of these side or scrapping some of these side pieces, definitely make a save before you do it. You know, sometimes what you delete winds up being a larger section that you wanted and you can't go back. At least I don't know of on the PlayStation of an undo after you scrap something. So just make sure you save before so you can at least go back if you screw up, which I've done a couple times. that's kind of exciting that this, what started out to be just a very simple penthouse build, we're going to have all this room under here to do, maybe even all the way back in here. And I do like this little section that comes out. Might turn that into a patio or something. Anyways, it's all starting to come together and a lot of open space to work with, and we'll get going on that. Okay, now that I established a lot of the flooring and kind of the size and layout roughly of what I'm thinking as far as this place goes, I want to start laying down some flooring, and I'll probably wind up using my go-to flooring. I really like this lighter wood flooring, just because if I'm able to, it snaps, which is nice, and I like the color and texture of it. So I'll probably use this for the interior in here, or at least some of the hallway. Probably this long hallway, but not quite sure. Maybe something darker too, but I definitely want to use it in here. And once again, once you start deleting all this stuff, like this space here, this is a perfect hallway to lead back to that other section that I'm thinking I want to turn into like a patio or deck. And when I deleted, I had this section back here, which is that nice marble rock going all the way down, which is just a perfect hallway already built on that one side. So I'm going to take advantage of that, lay these in here once I get that one in there. And then just off of this, out here will be a deck or patio, and even this hallway might lead back to something. It's kind of a tight space, but I can probably figure out something to put in here. And that's what happens when I'm building like this. I keep seeing spots that I can just keep adding, and that's why a lot of my builds just get so obnoxiously large, is because I see something that kind of sparks an idea, so I keep going. I'm just gonna add these in here because I do know I want this patio here, because when I saw this, and I actually deleted this little spot here by accident. Like I was telling you to be careful of what you scrap. So I scrapped this, but then I noticed that it did kind of allow me to come back out from inside with this huge chunk gone. So I'm just gonna use this and turn it into, some kind of patio or deck that goes back inside. Still not sure if this is becoming more of a headquarters or like a base, because there is a lot of space in here now, and originally on that other side was going to be where the penthouse was, but with all this new extra section, I don't even know where the main bedroom is going to be. Probably over in the original section like I was thinking, but I am really liking this new area back inside the rock on this other wing, I guess. At this point, it's more like a mansion where it has wings. At this point, I'm going to start laying in some of the walls just to get an idea of the shape, and maybe get outside walls all set in so I can kind of figure out a little more where I'm going to put the interior walls and how I'm going to divide the space up. And by adding these in, these don't seem to want to, okay, that one snaps. So I'll snap these in at least as much as I can, just so I can get an idea of the size I'm working with, and I'm pretty sure this is going to be a pretty good size space here. I'm surprised they actually snap, because most of my builds, nothing seems to want to snap. But I love it when it does, because it saves me time having to quappa. But obviously right here in this little section here, it's going to be harder. There's all these rock pieces sticking out and kind of preventing me from snapping those in. I'll have to figure out something there in that corner. Might even use the rock as it is, just as a texture. But yeah, this is a large space, so there's a lot I can do with this. I don't know if this is going to be warehouse area or like, you know, maybe some kind of training area or something like that. Or maybe this is the main house and maybe that on the other side is something else. But this hallway leading in with that patio, this could be a pretty cool master bedroom. Maybe even an office. Maybe that hallway back there leads to, you know, like a safe room or weapons room or something. So all kinds of opportunities to make this pretty unique and large, actually, at this point. Now that I'm looking at it, I don't even know how I'm going to fill all this. But I like that deck patio. So this will definitely be like a bedroom or office, because this is a pretty good feature. Once again, I'm going to use the vault floor and ceiling pieces just to keep the consistency of the texture on the roof, and it just looks better than a lot of the others. Most of those floor pieces don't really have a bottom to them, which I really don't like, so I like these the best, and it looks like something that would be used, say, for tunneling into the rock here, more than, you know, some of the other textured ceiling pieces. I'm going to change the texture up here on this hallway leading from whatever room this is. I'm definitely going to separate this with a vault door or something, or some kind of door that leads back into here, which I'm thinking is going to be, you know, maybe weapons and stuff. That's what I'm thinking this is going to be. So I just want to change the texture of the floor just so it's not all this wood, which I use way too much, but I really love that light colored wood. So I'll change it up here with this flooring. That will also kind of help separate the rooms too. already you can see just how massive this place is, and this hallway leading over here and deleting those squares really opened this area up and created an entirely different build at this point. So it's now gone from a little small little condo penthouse suite on that side into this massive kind of two-section home base here, and still trying to figure out exactly what's going on in here, but this is probably going to be maybe even a guest area, and office back there, and a weapons room is kind of what I'm thinking. You know, it's just all this extra space really now has me thinking overtime as to how I'm going to fill it, because I definitely want to take advantage of all these cool little nooks and crannies here that were created once again by deleting those blocks. I use a lot of these scrappy wood pieces just to make my scaffolding. Usually I make these pretty large. I use a lot of wood doing that, and it's kind of overkill, but I hate grabbing something with the quappa coming all the way down here and not having enough space to actually place something, just so I can attend to this balcony here. So I think I want to put some railings in there and probably even some stairs going down to the water. I know it's not very secure, but at this point this isn't going to be some high security type base, just more of like a swanky condo type thing. So we'll just go with that for now. Now, since I did delete that outer rock, I do have to come up with an idea or something to fill that space. And I do have some marble stairs that have the same texture, but I don't have big blocks. So I guess I could use a bunch of those, but I love something larger and I just want something different. So basically I was kind of scrolling through all the objects I have, just looking for something large, maybe something that had a cool texture to it that I could put maybe on the face of this, and then maybe do some of the marble up top, but just something to break it up, make it cool, make it look more like it was built into the rock. And I found these giant shipping container things that have a really interesting texture on the front. I thought, wouldn't it be cool if I could use maybe a few of these across the top and fill that in. So I'm just going to set this in here, and already I can tell this is going to look pretty good. This looks more like some kind of structured piece that was actually made for this, not necessarily a shipping container, because I'm just using the front of it. So, and it's just a lot better than just having just the rock there. So I'm already liking the way this is looking here. So I'm going to lay in some stairs, and normally I have these, I've had these stairs forever. I can't remember where they're located, but I feel as though maybe I should just use the marble. I mean, that makes more sense because then it matches the rest of the quarry and looks like it's carved into the rock. So I'm going to do that. as I was saying before, I don't have a large marble square chunk. I wish I did. So all I've got is the back side of this large stair piece. So I'll be using that as my texture to kind of cover up some big holes, and that works pretty well. Not entirely happy with repeating that texture because it is pretty noticeable if you use a lot of them, but there's not much I can do with that, so I'll just have to go with the flow on this. I think that'll cover up the stairs there pretty well. And every now and then I'll set one of them back, maybe overlap it a little, and just so it doesn't look like the same, just to break it up so it's not just one solid piece. The other thing I noticed is the top of the stairs. I'd be able to use these as kind of like a edging piece here on this main penthouse window. Now this front window is what I'm thinking is going to be all glass that looks down into the water. So this is kind of the showpiece of this whole penthouse. So I'd like to finish it off on the edge a little more rather than just the edge of the floor. So it worked perfect that I use kind of the shorter stairs so it doesn't stick down too much, but also has this little lip edge here, which is going to finish off this edge really good. And then once I get the flooring laid in and the windows, I think it'll look pretty cool. So that's just one of those things that you sort of discover as you're building is, hey, maybe this piece will work for this, work for that. You got to think outside the box. And when you see an object, just look at every side, every angle of that, thinking, maybe I could use the bottom side for this, or the side of this, for something else. Because I don't have a whole lot of objects with the PlayStation, so you gotta think creative sometimes. Okay, I'm going to cut out here because this could go on, and this is probably going to take a while to edit as it is. But as you can see, this is an amazing start, and now we have a much better idea of what kind of build we're looking at here, which is a much larger one, as I said. But over there, you can see that's going to be the penthouse suite. I might be able to get 2 floors in there. So I'm thinking maybe 2 floors over there. That's kind of the main living area. And over across the hallway into our little area here, this will be an office area, maybe some kind of entertainment room or guest area in that other side, and then this has the office and the weapons room. That's kind of what I'm thinking, how I'm going to divide this space up, but definitely like a guest area. And then where I originally was going to have the penthouse, that will still be the main residence area. At least that's the plan, and as usual, who knows, that may change. But that's what we're going to go with now. And I'm going to cut this one out here. Thanks for watching. I don't know when the next one will be. I got other builds going, and between work and life, there's not a whole lot of time. So hopefully soon, but until then, thanks for stopping by and thanks for watching. And until next time, keep building.